ngiyabuza. Ngicela ufonele uqinisile. Ngizokusendela inamba yakhe right now. Production. Perfect. Sure. Ngoba engibuzana manje ne-location. Yona abantu abayithandayo bangikuthanda. Yes. Connected. Kalana, what you kalana? I'm a military in the swimming. No, when I develop on Zoom, develop. Sorry? No, I think it's yeah. Awesome. just like cinema and cinema. Ano mo kung masabi ng talent? Because the young kids cinema and wow, that's good.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank everybody for joining us for the International Computer Science Education Week 2020. Today we are joined by the Honorable Deputy Minister, Professor GBVF from the Department of the Presidency for Women, Youth, Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Lebogang Mothiba, CEO of Nolwazi STEM Academy, Dr. Stella Mvuma, Head of the Department of Applied Information Science at the University of Johannesburg, technical issues. Okay, good morning, everybody. I'll start again. We're joined today by the Honorable Deputy Minister, Professor GBVF from the Department of the Presidency for Women, Youth, Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Lebogang Mothiba, CEO of Nolwazi STEM Academy, Dr. Stella Mvuma, Head of Department of Applied Information Science at the University of Johannesburg, Ms. Thandeka Ellison, CEO of Moses Kotane, Mr. Andrew B. Raup, Executive Director, STEM.org, Ms. Takalani Nechitenje, Chairperson at Vodacom Foundation, Ms. Sharon Masdor, Managing Director at United Collaboration at BCX, Dr. Vilagazi, CEO of Itala SOC Limited. We've got Mr. Letutula Shabalala, Program Manager at GoDigitalSA Foundation, Mr. Dave Semling, Chief Technology, GoDigitalSA Foundation, Mr. Sandile Mashaba, co-founder and patron at GoDigitalSA Foundation, Mr. Sandile Kaolo, Head of Marketing and Communications, Itala SOC Pty Limited. We would like to also just acknowledge all that have joined us. Our schools, we've got from across KZN, we've got Kwahluzi Ngondo, we've got schools from Pendugani in Newcastle, we've got Ogwini, we've got Dupsloot High School in Gauteng, we've got the Moses Kotane Institute, the Digital Skills Centers in Bergville, in Mfolozi, and in, I apologize, I forget the third venue, but we'd like to welcome all and all protocol observed. I do not want to waste time as we've had technical issues and we've lost a bit of time. I'd also like to welcome all that are here at the CoLab, Susan and Amy and Sakiwa from the CoLab, the Durban Innovation CoLab. We are welcoming all the young ladies and gentlemen that are here at the Innovation CoLab. Welcome to all. I am Deborah Semmeling from the GoDigitalSA Foundation. Our organization started specifically to ensure that we've got digital skills across all sectors of our communities, that all learners from the age of 5 and up get to understand and be exposed to digital skills. And so this program started as a result of us partaking in the Code.org International Computer Science Week, which is an annual event that happens across the world. And so we become part of over 100 million participants that have taken part in this annual event. Today, it is key for us to have joined Nolwazi STEM to run this program with Professor Mkhize to make sure that we also have a theme that is relevant for the program of the day, being being around the gender-based violence and femicide. Today we'd like to acknowledge and also pay tribute to those that have either lost their lives or have been impacted by this situation. And as we know, we are within the 16 days of activism. So this is why we are saying sekwanele. It's enough. We've had enough. Society. So our theme today is society in collaboration, leveraging innovation and technology to fight GBVF. I would like for us to hand over to Mr. Lebogang Mtiba, if he is available, to just acknowledge and also just inform us a bit more about the program and to introduce the next speaker. Mr. Mtiba.
government. But back to the day, I'm really grateful to be invited to address this August gathering. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Nolwazi STEM Education for the Fourth Industrial Revolution Academy and the Go Digital South Africa Foundation for co-hosting this important event of the International Computer Science Education. I'm really grateful to. They've done what as government we look for all the time, that we work in partnerships for greater impact. Of course, as during our discussions, I didn't know whether we'll be able to pull it together as we are today, but I'm proud of Nolwazi STEM since I was part of the founding consultative session, which gave rise to the strategic plan currently being implemented. And I committed during the strat plan that I would like to be a patron. Being part of the International Computer Science Week event through the intervention of Go Digital South Africa Foundation is a step in the right direction. And I must say publicly today that it's really a sign of having a good partner who immediately add value to you. That's what Go Digital have done. They've come to us and they said we can talk, it would be fine, but the most important thing is what can we do together? And thank you, Go Digital, for that. For me, it's a dream come true to be sitting with the adolescent learners of Diepsloot Combined School in the middle of Diepsloot community who aspire to be in the career of computers and digital sciences. And I think, being in this combined school in Diepsloot is in the middle of a huge informal settlement. And whenever we go and we talk, we always say there is a plight. Some children are likely to be left behind. But since Nolwazi established a relationship to this school, I'm grateful to teachers because I've been taken aback by the commitment, the enthusiasm, and just the potential to get there. We thank the teachers who have committed themselves to say, although we're a Diepsloot informal settlement, our children won't be left behind. We thank them a lot for that. It takes more even to see them on a Saturday to say, this is an international computer science event, we'll be there. The class will be open. Thank you very much to the teachers. Again, inequality, especially gender inequality in this sector, is a huge challenge that has been with us for decades. So today, we are creating awareness of the future and endless opportunities in this sector, which is highly marginalized, is the underdeveloped communities and informal settlement. We all know as South Africans what it means: poor infrastructure, high levels of poverty, just not access opportunities that are available. Just to take from the documents of the Computer Science Education Week, I want to emphasize the points they raised there, that it's an annual call to action to inspire learners, students, and young people who are not in employment, education, or training, what we call a NEET group, to take interest in information communication technology, especially the fourth industrial revolution. This important event seeks to advocate for equity in computer science education and celebrates the contributions of students, teachers, and partners in advancing the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects areas. This resonates well with the vision and principles of Nolwazi STEM. But if I may share, As a former Minister of Higher Education, this was a battleground. It has taken 30 years. People who are qualified engineers in computer science, they'll say, women in particular, they'll say, when I was in training 30 years ago, we were about 4 women for different reasons. But now, here I am, my daughter is in training in computer science engineering. They are still about 4. When they started, they were about 5, but the other 2 has dropped on the way. It just talks to the seriousness of a deficit. I know the government of South Africa has invested in incentives, bursaries, awards to promote and encourage, but I don't think the environment as such is of today conducive. Just to touch a little bit on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 5 addresses gender equality. It says it's not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. There has been progress over the last decade. More girls are going to school, fewer girls are forced into early marriages, more women are serving in political positions. Despite these gains, many challenges remain. Discriminatory laws and social norms remain pervasive, especially social norms, where even educators, they believe boys will do better than girls. But as of today, we all know people are inherently of equal IQ. They just need to be given an opportunity. Reducing inequalities, goal number 10, is compelling us to say it's not enough to describe them, but we should commit as to how we want to reduce inequalities and to ensure that no one is left behind. And I think what we're doing today is that attempt to reduce inequalities. Inequality within and among countries is a persistent cause for concern. Despite some positive signs, we still have serious challenges. And I must say, having had an experience of talking even to the private sector, the moment you mention schools like Deep Sloot combined schools and say, I want to run a STEM program, it's almost like you're unrealistic. They don't have computers at home. They don't have parents who support them. You hardly get support. I know we'll be listening to foundations from the telecoms about what they are doing, but I'm telling you, it's a steep hill to get cooperation and support from them. But we thank those who committed, and the class we are in today with the learners has got computers, it has got Wi-Fi, it's through the kind hearts of very small people in the telecoms. But it's still a challenge to convince the big players that we cannot make this an elitist opportunity as we did with the third industrial revolution. A lot has been about COVID-19, that it has deepened existing inequalities, especially for women and girls. We haven't seen an audit from the Department of Basic Education. It tells us what's the percentage of students who didn't come back when the Minister of Education was saying, let them come back, let them write exams. But we are aware of one thing, that where there was a challenge of leakages of papers is in the STEM subjects, maths and physical science, paper 2. So which shows that that's where the anxiety levels of students were very high. But we hope all the girls came back, that all the girls, who, even those who were involved, they will meet the requirements and pursue their goals. When it comes to employment, on paper, it said only 3% of senior IT positions are occupied by Black women. Well, this is attributed to the fact that even when they get those positions, there's no clear, really, growth and pipeline for them to be leaders of these companies and encourage many people. So that's a justification why when we promote STEM subjects, we should include all young people, boys and girls, but strategically show a bias towards girls. That will help us to make sure that we close that gap. I remember I had a friend, a professor in psychology, who wrote a thesis talking about the anxiety of doing maths. And I didn't understand what was really a hypothesis, what was a big deal. But she explained that she had been a teacher for many years, and girls in particular came to a classroom already convinced that this is not for us, it's the men's world. So she had to use her psychology to help them to unlearn that, to believe in themselves, and to be determined to fight on in this sector. Coming back to the theme for today, police stations and law enforcement agencies could benefit a lot in making use of ICTs to fight gender-based violence and femicide. Evidence collection and recording could be improved making use of ICTs. The abundance of technologies can also be used to make information readily available and accessible, creating a more equitable knowledge economy and information society. So we need to consider involvement in ICTs because ICT is a growing sector which has high absorption capacity. It has a potential of creating new jobs now and many in the future. Therefore, digital skills development is of utmost importance as it offers highly skilled, well-paid jobs. However, this sector fails to attract and employ many women as they are still underrepresented. Females are less likely to take up studies in the STEM fields and are much less represented in the ICT job markets. South Africa has committed itself by establishing the Fourth Industrial Revolution Commission, which is chaired by President Cyril Ramaphosa, and his deputy is a well-respected professor, Professor Chidizi Marwala. It has taken the cream of this country to say, be the face of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, because the future is digital. Make sure it's well represented. So today's activities about to unfold later, especially when the training of young people starts, really speaks to that, and also the vision of government that whatever they introduce, they are not the key players. The success depends on the efficiency of social partners. And so the organizations who have led us today, they are the ones who must make sure that we link up with the foundation and with the commission, the Fourth Industrial Commission, and make sure that whatever vision they drive, we go down at a local level, using even the district development model to say, let's use these technologies, not for its own sake, but to solve social problems and to promote development. It has been slow, but I think with the utilization of technology, whatever problems we have, we can eradicate them much quicker. Congratulations to the young participants, as this brings hope to us that we have young people who are picking up the spear. And I hope that this day in particular will plant a seed for the love of technology and STEM subjects. The road ahead might be hectic, but anyone who will decide today that 2020 International Computer Science Day, I said, I want to be in this sector, they will succeed. I thank you.
Well, thank you very much to the Deputy Minister. Indeed, nobody is to be left behind, whether you're a girl or you're a boy. If you have passion in computer science or maths, really, you need to get yourself involved, get your hands dirty. You should not be scared of maths and science, as somebody was doing a thesis trying to check the problems or the issues in terms of doing maths. For now, I would like to hand over to our next speaker, who's from the University of Johannesburg, the head of the Department of Applied Information Sciences, Dr. Stella Buma. Over to you, madam.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone and my fellow panelists. Warm greetings to Honorable Minister Prof. Hlengiwe Mkhize, and special greetings to my teacher, Usandile Mhlaba, that we normally take account of one another in the space of STEM to say what do we do about the people in our communities, in particular our rural and township areas. And of course, to my most special people, that is the learners themselves, the people that we're looking forward to welcome here at the University of Johannesburg. So I'm going to just talk briefly about technology. But just before I do that, I want to clarify the department where I come from is the Department of Applied Information Systems. It's housed in the School of Consumer Intelligence and Information Systems within the College of Business and Economics. And of course, within the university led by a thoughtful leader, Professor Chiledze Marwala. So I want to just talk about the role of technology in terms of combating the gender inequality or the gender violence and the femicide in general, all of it. Just to bring awareness, Honorable Minister, that while we appreciate that technology provides numerous opportunities in various parts of our day-to-day living, there's no doubt that we live in the age where technology has become an important part of our lives, and the pace that technology is actually going at or growing on a daily basis, it can be disastrous, and at the same time, it can also be a blessing. And of course, technology provides better opportunities to respond to the fight against the gender-based violence and femicide. And at the same time, technology can provide better ways to increase this pandemic of our time as women. So we must be careful not to think that technology will end violence against women. This could be a huge responsibility that we lay upon technology itself. And we must never hand over the responsibility of gender-based violence to technology. However, technology can be an enabler, when we jointly work together to fight and end violence against women in various ways, such as, bringing awareness and use the technology as a tool for women empowerment. Technology should reinforce existing mechanism and complement all the efforts to ensure that all our professionals, police, social workers, universities can adopt the technologies that can support the fight against this violence and provide adequate support to victims and survivors as a whole. What we are appealing for, I think it's for everyone from the private and the public sector, to collaborate with us as universities to ensure that we provide tech skills and improved connectivity through ICT, infrastructure for all, making sure that we are all connected and we are able to utilize and reap the benefits that this technology can bring. Because failure to carefully look at all the inclusivity of this technology, it might actually create problems and leave the others in a more disadvantaged mode. And I speak as a village girl, you know, growing up in the township and also in the rural area, that it's very important that we tailor-make the technologies that our people understand. And we don't teach, you know, IT in a high-level language that it will be difficult for people to adopt and understand. I think what we plead for as well is we want technology access, you know, such as Wi-Fi operated CCTV cameras that can identify criminals through face recognition technology and their biometrics before they even think of committing their next crime. What we want technologies, you know, to do is that they will not humiliate us when we report crimes of sexual harassment, for example. We want technologies that will create a safe space for us to live and be part of our communities. I'm happy to say at the University of Johannesburg, we use, you know, applications such as Nemola, you know, where our staff and students are in police and community groups and security. It's a good step. But our students as well within the Department of Applied Information Systems, Sandile, you know that we also have the Technopreneurship Center within the school. And we encourage our students to come up with technology tools that solve our societal problems. Our students at the beginning of the year, we give them you know, societal challenge as a problem to say, how are you going to solve this particular issue using technology? So by doing that, we're trying to synthesize them to the issues to say, you can develop these technologies yourself. We don't have to wait, you know, for other countries or other people from outside to come up with solutions for our own problems. So we're taking ownership by doing that. And of course, we want to see more women developing these apps, you know, being in that space. And I'm happy that, you know, as a woman leading the Department of Applied Information System, where we are building apps, where we are teaching about the advantages and disadvantages of technology, where we are talking about the IT governance, where we are talking about strategies when you implement ITs, you know, it's kind of making it's a norm that we should appreciate. So we want our women to take ownership of the current challenges that are better experienced, because we are better experienced and understand this kind of problems that we are experiencing. I think what we're trying to do as well is to demystify the norm that it is only men who can provide tech solutions even for our women problems. You know, we're trying to say that let it be a collective thing. Let women say, you know, this is the type of harassment that we're facing, be it sexual harassment, be it, you know, gender inequality, and come up with a tech solution. So we want to see them in that tech space, developing and playing around with the softwares and so forth. But in conclusion, I would like to speak to the learners as well to say, we desire to see you coming to join the universities, in particular, of course, the vibrant University of Johannesburg, you know, to design these technologies, to think about, you know, change the mindset, start thinking about the environment where you are to say, what can I use technology, you know, to solve this particular challenge? So I think personally for me is that there's a long desire for technologies that can create the real fear for perpetrators and that can assist in apprehending them at the same time. And I also want to see technologies that will bring confidence in knowing and believing that we have capacitated people to use this tool, these tech tools, in order for them to make decisions, you know, and to apprehend these criminals, and also to make sure that they don't get away with gender-based violence and femicide. So in saying that, if there are industry people listening to us, and I appreciate the GoDigitals and all members that are here today, to say as a university, our doors are open, talk to us, engage us, because the students that we are, you know, receiving from the communities, we are going to send them back to the industry, and we want them to be able to come up with, to use the skills that we've equipped them with to solve those societal problems that we're having. I think in having said that, it brings me confidence to have such wonderful platforms that will really bring industry, and government working together into say we are capable of bridging this digital divide or the gender-based violence using technologies. But we want to be part of the building. We want to be part of, developing the softwares to own them and be able to say, this is our own solutions for our own problems. And thank you very much. That's the end of my talk. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I'm sorry, I was just a bit technologically challenged right there. Was just saying, thank you very much, Dr. Vuma, for your informative speech as well. Indeed, yes, we need to collaborate, especially starting from the community, partnering with universities like UJ, who are really taking this thing of the fourth industrial revolution very serious. Just one announcement, the Deputy Minister's speech will be made on the chat for those who would like to access it. We'll make it available on the chat and then on the chat site, and then you can download it or copy it from there. And then right now, I just want to introduce our next speaker, who's Ms. Thandeka Ellison, the CEO of Moses Kotane Institute.
Thank you very much. Can you confirm if all is in order?
All is in order, ma'am. Continue.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I would like to start by greeting Honorable Deputy Minister, Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize, HOD, Dr. Vuma, Vodacom Chairperson, Ms. Netkitenze, the CEO of ITALASOC, my colleague, Dr. Vilagazi, Executive Director of STEM, Mr. Rope, Managing Executive for BCX, Ms. Marstop, and CEO of GoDigital Foundation, as well as Mr. Mutsiba, who's the Nogwazi STEM Academy. We also extend the greeting to our online audience, our youth participants, and our technical and support team. And if there's been a change in the program, I would like to hereby observe protocol as necessary. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gender-based violence has devastating effects and long-lasting scars for the affected. And today we are called to fight gender-based violence using the latest innovation and technological advancements to reduce and even prevent the gender-based violence incidents. And as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we, having the digital transformation strategy that guides us, we have 3 points that we would like to mention under the Moses Kotane Institute, which we feel that are critical to curb the scourge and fight against gender-based violence. The first one is connectivity, the second one is infrastructure, and the third one is skills. So we are happy to be invited here to be part of this wonderful event, because we feel that we can contribute quite positively to fight GBV. Firstly, on connectivity, digital transformation places connectivity as a priority, and all people that can be considered and classified as vulnerable individuals need to be connected so that they can be able to reach out to the world, they can be able to be supported, and they can be able to access the aid that they need. Without fast and affordable connectivity, the question is, how will our citizens and affected individuals reach out to the world to report and to obtain counseling, to join support groups, given the fact that most activities now have moved to digital platforms? So connectivity remains a crucial part of our fight. evidence still suggests that in rural areas, particularly in remote areas, there is no connectivity. And where there's some form of connectivity, you find that the speed is very frustrating to the point that you can equate that to no connectivity at all. So this means that we should get ourselves connected. We should get connections in schools. We should get connections in the most in the community centers, health centers such as clinics, the hospitals, the traditional authority areas. The South African police service stations also need to be connected so that they can be able to respond. There should be hotspots for connectivity at some points in our communities where our people can be able to connect and reach out to the world out there as a starting point. The tragedy is that in KwaZulu-Natal, we are less than 50% connected. We are 27% connected to be exact, and we still have a long way to go. So activity that is being done by youth requires lots of connectivity because of interconnectivity. The second point that I'd like to stress is the issue of the digital divide through infrastructure. We find that technology has become a most powerful force in transforming our society, our economy, and our political space. There are various technological infrastructure, and they have created a shared, interconnected virtual space that is conducive for exchange of information and services. So it is important to note that the benefits that are being brought by the advancements of technology at this point in time are largely available to the minority of the population and those with financial means, and those who have access to better infrastructure, and those who have been capacitated with technological skills, and those who can apply the skills in any environment. But we should also note and remember that gender-based violence does not discriminate according to class or availability of resources. So there is a concern that penetration of technology in our society is actually widening the inequality gap to a larger extent, marginalize those that are most vulnerable, and this includes youth and women. So it is therefore crucial that we ensure that the infrastructure of our technology is inclusive and accessible. And this is the reason why, as the Moses Kotane Institute, we started with the project of establishing the digital centers in the rural areas so that we can make sure that the facilities and infrastructure is available to the members of the communities, particularly the rural communities. And then the third point is that of the digital scaling. Well, the South African technological landscape says that even though we may have infrastructural investment, we may try to have connectivity, but those are still not sufficient in promoting digital skills and learning. And this is what the likes of the GoDigital Foundation South Africa are intervening in, assisting us on to ensure that we are skilled as a province. At the most basic level, we should have a young person able to operate a computer or a mobile phone, and they must be able to understand and perform the basic tasks that are brought about by these technologies, such as watching the videos and searching for information. So the Moses Kotane Institute is currently exposing the youth to the world of coding in its digital centers. And these currently we have youth that is connected from Umfolozi, Bergville, and Kokstad digital centers. And the program is taking off very well. And we really like to thank our partners and our collaborators, specifically in KZN, the GoDigitalSA, because they are very active there and they are ensuring that our youth is skills and our youth is able to create solutions. So the other reality is that most of the solutions still require connectivity. This is why I'm going back now to point number one, to say that connectivity remains the crucial and the most critical part in fighting gender-based violence. So in conclusion, Innovation and technology can be a contributor to the fight of the gender-based violence. We can make sure that our communities and the vulnerable groups are educated through gaming. We can provide online access to healthcare. We can do hacks that promote the development of new technological tools, as you will see what Nokwazi STEM and as well as GoDigitalSA are doing. We can ensure that government's accountability is seen through tracking and tracing and reporting and having remedial advancements. And this is what Professor Mkhize is stressing, that our government must be able to account, must be able to track, must be able to trace. So connectivity, again, remains the number one action and a priority and responsible for this. And we must ensure that this connectivity is a priority for both private and public sector, because it's important that all parties play. We must have easily accessible free hotlines that do not make you wait in a queue for long before you are attended. And this should be able to trace the location of the caller and must be linked to the systems, to the response systems, so that our vulnerable groups can, or people or individuals can get help. We must have apps. We have apps that are being developed on a daily basis, but the reality is who benefits from them, and are they linked to our response or our responsive systems, or are they linked to the police? Are the vulnerable groups having devices that are able to accommodate them and link themselves to these? Our SMS linkages have similar challenges of non-responsiveness. We also have, our youth have created mostly the wearable devices where you can put your on your wrist or on your ankle or wherever else. But what if you are staying with someone who knows how you use your device, who knows where you keep it, when you put it on and off? What if the abuser, for an example, is a close family or friend, and they know how they can cut this thing off and then attack you? So this is where now we have to innovate. This is where we need to bring in solutions so that we can prevent and make sure that the perpetrators are not able to cut us off, from the response world in our society. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot more can be said, but as Moses Kotane Institute, we greatly support the use of innovation and technology to fight gender-based violence. And lastly, we are saying, as the Moses Kotane Institute, we are quite humbled to be participants of this International Computer Science Education Week. And through our digital centers in Bergville, Mfolozi, and Kokstad that are connected right now, we are saying thank you, and thank you to STEM Academy and Go Digital Foundation SA. And we are saying Segwanele. Thank you, Program Director.
Well, thank you very much, Sis Tandeka, and then thank you very much also to the support that you are showing to young children that side of KZN. We could also hope that maybe you should come upstream, come to inland, and then focus on provinces such as Gauteng, such as Limpopo, and then just show your support, spread your wings. Really, there's nothing that is stopping you to be operating only in the coast. And then at the moment, I'd just like to give to our next speaker, who is Mr. Andrew Roop, the Executive Director of STEM.org Educational Research. Andrew, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Andrew.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to back up here a second. Sorry for the technical issues. Okay, All right, thanks for having me today. I just want to say thank you. It is 3 a.m. here where I'm dialing in Eastern Standard Time. I'm connecting from Detroit, Michigan. It's about 40 degrees. It's pretty cold here, but I do want to say thanks for having me. I want to say thank you to all the young people that are watching. I also want to acknowledge the foundation and their great work in achieving STEM accreditation on June 12th of this year. They scored very high. We have accredited thousands of organizations around the world. They provided a cloud-based assessment and an oral interview process, and they did phenomenally, and they scored in the top 94 percentile. I really wanted to I don't do a lot of these talks, but I really wanted to take some time out of my evening to recognize them and really support all of the efforts that are taking place in Africa. So I just wanted to share a little bit here with regards to STEM education's lost history. And sometimes people ask me, well, what does this have to do with equality and things? And I say that we really ultimately have to address and understand STEM, including the history. There's a lost history of STEM education in order for us to address systemic inequalities, in order to find a path forward. So let me see if I can, I'm having an issue moving my, okay, here we go. So a lot of people say, is it STEAM? And there are a lot of acronyms out there. And this may seem redundant, but the more that we study, we've been studying STEM for over 20 years now, the more I realize there's so much information. 95% of the information that we see online is erroneous or is out of context. And so there's this sort of ongoing debate with regards to all of the acronyms. I will show you some of them. I had written an article in November regarding all the various types of acronyms around the world. I was on the phone this morning with the Netherlands, and they were speaking a lot about how, because of the language differences, there's difficulty agreeing upon what that acronym may look like. Even in Germany, for instance, they use the term MINT. So if you have a moment and you'd like to read a little bit more up on that, you can find that article on Forbes. So what is STEM? There is no universally agreed upon definition. And so when we use it, we tend to throw the word around as just STEM in a very broad sense, but it's so broad that if we don't use certain terms to qualify it, it may be very confusing. So we tend to look at various types of context words. So what are the words that precede or follow it? So are we talking about STEM as in science, technology, engineering, and math as an acronym? Are we talking about the fields? Are we talking about careers, education, toys? So I do encourage everybody, when they are using the term STEM, it's permeated through popular culture, that they do pay attention to the word that follows, and they do try to include some sort of context word, and that will alleviate a lot of confusion. We like this definition. It was made back in 2012 from the Congressional Research Service, and it talks specifically about preschool to postdoctorate. And I think that that was very important because, when we're talking about STEM, we're trying to include lifelong learning. And oftentimes we forget about the adults. We forget that, maybe some adults come to us and they say, the STEM education movement, we missed out on. And maybe I would come back and say, they didn't necessarily miss out on it. They were probably practicing STEM. They weren't calling it by name, but it's never too late to get involved. And so this article, and I will show you this, Reveling in STEM Education as an Adult Learner, really does highlight that and talk a little bit about lifelong learning. Now, I skipped over the definition that we use, but what we tend to use and what we like to add to that Congressional Research Service definition is why we're actually practicing STEM. And what's oftentimes missed is that STEM is an international movement, and it should be used for peace and human progress. And so there's a tendency too, when you look at the top brands in the world, most of them are data brands. They're technology companies. 50 years ago, the richest companies in the world were oil companies, and now they're data and technology companies. And many people have made their fortunes on STEM. And I think it's very important as wealth and resources is consolidated, that we're not just looking at STEM as a way to consolidate additional wealth and to control the population. We tend to see, and we use words like fourth industrial revolution, which are thought of at, ironically, the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where people fly out in their private jets and they want to tell the rest of the world what to do. I say what we ultimately do is we use those terms to bridge the gap and actually not just use them by name, but actually practice them. And so that's very important to our organization. I want to talk about the history. 99% of what you see is not correct. STEM didn't magically start in the halls of the National Science Foundation in 2001. There are thousands of pages of documents that show that STEM started before that. And it was by sheer happenstance that I was able to find out additional information and get a lead on a story that helped me better understand and go down this path. So I was at a career communications group conference, and I was congratulating the team, minority-owned publication, for potentially reaching the 20th anniversary of STEM, only to find out that the organizers corrected me and they said, you know, we've published articles in the 1990s about STEM, so it's really a lot older than 20 years. And if you look at it, according to the NSF definition, the 20th anniversary of STEM education, or STEM, would be in 2021. And they said that in the mid-90s and even before that, they were talking about STEM. So I started to do some research, and I used a tool that Google has called Google Ngram. And I began down this path of trying to find where these publications were. And I went back to the original publisher and I said, would you mind if I look through your archives? And they said, no. And I said, why? And they said, we gave them to Google to scan. And so it saved me a trip from Detroit to Baltimore. And what I did was I began to look through the various publications throughout the years. It took me about 3 weeks, but I was able to find a publication, Hispanic IT and Engineering magazine. And this was an article that was really, in my opinion, kind of a pivotal article in the modern day STEM education movement, because when we're referring to STEM, if you look at some publications, they say that STEM started in 1957 during Sputnik and the space race. But we had technology, we had science, technology, engineering, and math way before that. And so when I use the term STEM and STEM education, I look at the modern day STEM education movement. And it really started in the early 90s. And this was a very important article because this was one of the first print articles I was able to find in the autumn edition of the 1996 Hispanic IT and Engineering magazine. Very specifically, it talks about STEM as in science, technology, engineering, and math. It took me down more of a rabbit hole, and I was able to find additional documents. This one was in the Washington Post, a 1994 NASA publication, and it took me all the way to El Salvador, where I was able to find in a publication there an article about a gentleman who I'll share his name momentarily. But I went back and forth with the editors at Forbes, and when you're trying to undo an echo chamber of false information on the internet, it's difficult because it can lead to a little bit of controversy. It's a little uneasy, but I was able to get the article published in Forbes. And if you get the opportunity, you can see it in STEM Education's Lost Decade and Tenor. You can also find it on stem.blog. But I thought it was really important that we give credit where credit is due. And the gentleman who I was able to find, really the first publications where we were using the term STEM, was an immigrant to the United States from El Salvador, Dr. Charles E. Vela. And I used the term tenor because I had felt for two reasons. One, the tenor is the lead, and he is really pivotal in music. But also tenor was a double entendre in the fact that I was saying that in our quest to promote STEM everywhere, we've lost the tone. of STEM. We've over commercialized it, we've corporatized it, and we've really kind of, in his term, bastardized STEM ultimately by abusing it, trying to make it for profit. I think it's so important that we decentralize the STEM education movement and ultimately make sure that it's used for good. So Dr. Charles Vela, those were his words, by the way, quoted. He had this first medal of the STEM Institute where he worked with underserved children in the early 90s, 30 student cohorts. And what he was able to do was he was able to take students from the poorest neighborhoods, predominantly young girls, African-American students, Hispanic students, and really help them to get into some of the world's top schools. After tracking some of the students down, I learned that many of them went to some of the top schools like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Wharton School of Business, and he did this during a span of 5 years, helping over 150 students. I want to talk a little bit about the champions of STEM because Dr. Vela couldn't do it himself, but these were other individuals who really played a critical role. When you look at Morton, he worked at the University of Massachusetts Amherst and started a STEM Institute in 1994. We also have two very important women in STEM who made tremendous contributions and really led to a lot of the funding and policy related to the STEM education movement. One gentleman in particular that influenced me was Vernon Ehlers from the Michigan 3rd Congressional District. Vern was a mentor of mine. He also helped found the STEM Congressional Caucus in the United States. And he asked me to help him with the framework on that. And one of the things he was very adamant about was bringing everybody into the fold. He wanted the poor students, even though he was from one of the richer parts of the state, on the opposite side, he really did ultimately want to bridge the gap and make STEM available to everyone. He was a scientist by trade. He was the chairman of the Kelvin College Physics Department, and he made tremendous contributions to STEM. So I did want to take a moment to recognize him. I wrote his obituary here in the Detroit News. This is where I grew up. I grew up in a poor neighborhood in Detroit. Today, 57 out of every 100 children live in poverty. Over 150,000 homes do not have running water. It went from being one of the richest parts of the United States in 1960 to filing municipal bankruptcy in 2013. We faced a tremendous amount of adversity over the years. Many of the schools closed, and it really was a challenge. My parents, though, they really cared tremendously about me, and I was able to pay that forward. I went back to my old neighborhood and tried to help out and began the process of working directly with students in various types of community programs in the early 2000s. And here are some pictures of them. In particular, these students from all different backgrounds really taught me so much and really changed my life. I didn't intend to necessarily go into STEM or STEM education, but they inspired me, and I felt great after working with them, and it gave rise to STEM.org educational research. These students did phenomenal things. They took things like earthworms and they were able to do very highly complex dissections, and it was really phenomenal. It even changed my perceptions of what students could do. We showed these off to the professors at the University of Michigan. This is a timeline of the organization's evolutionary history. We've done a lot over the years. We worked directly with students, but we've really made tremendous contributions with regards to STEM. And I think it's just so important that when we're talking about STEM education, we're looking at it in context and we're making sure that we're promoting it for the right reasons. I just wanted to share a couple of things here. Takeaways. STEM is for everyone. STEM is quite decentralized. And I think that it's so important that we don't look at STEM from a top-down approach, but moreover, we recognize the efforts that organizations are making in their communities. And we receive immediate and direct feedback from those organizations as to how we define STEM moving forward. It should not be defined in academia per se by a handful of professors that tell us what STEM is, but ultimately by the stakeholders in the community. Can they have a say? Absolutely. But I think that what we really need is a diverse group of stakeholders, students, parents, industry leaders, nonprofits, and so on, to be able to contribute to what STEM looks like moving forward. As I mentioned, there's no universal definition. It should be used in context. And it really is an international movement that I'm proud to be a part of. If you want to know some additional information about STEM, to take a closer look, what's driving STEM and some of the trends, where it's going, I've written several articles. One is a highly indexed article on Google about where STEM is going back in 2019. And also one recently where I compare the 2020s with the 1920s and talk about just some of the challenges that we're facing moving forward. We do some things with regards to accreditation and certification. We provide sort of train the trainer models now where we can make a broader impact in the community. This is my contact information. I know that I'm kind of rushing through this presentation here. I wanted to be mindful. This presentation is actually about a 45-minute to an hour presentation. I wasn't able to get through the things that maybe I wanted to in this presentation, but at least I was able to give you a little bit of an overview of where STEM is and where STEM is ultimately going. So if you need to get a hold of me, you can contact me here. I do appreciate the opportunity to present today, and I wish everybody the best moving forward with regards to STEM, and we're here to help if you need us.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for your continued enthusiasm. Really, I must say, the first time when I spoke to you on the line, I could just tell how much you were so passionate about STEM. And then thank you very much for staying up. Imagine some of us could have been sleeping. It's 3 a.m. on your side of the world. But here you are, joining the stage with us, trying to encourage our learners from this side of the world, just to see how important STEM is, and also just to get where this STEM comes from. I see CSEdWeek is getting ready, but I'm going to suggest that we take a 10 minutes comfort break because some of the learners have been here since 7:30. So let's just please take 10 minutes comfort break. And then after that, it's now 20 past, 30:30, and then we come back, we continue with CSEdWeek Nechitenze from Vodacom Foundation and the other last two speakers. Please, let's stick to the time, just 10 minutes comfort break, and then we'll be back. 30:30, we should be back, Sister.
I'm mute.
Okay. Welcome back to everyone. Dr. Vilagazi, thank you very much. Welcome back, everyone. Now let's please give a chance to our speaker from Vodacom Foundation, Dr. Takalani Nechitenze, the Executive Director at Vodacom Foundation. Sister Ki, the stage is yours.
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister, Professor Plengiwe Mkhize, esteemed speakers and guests, especially the learners. Thank you for inviting me. Let me just correct that I am not a doctor. I am an advocate and ambassador. They say when these things happen, you must correct them immediately. I listened to the Deputy Minister about inequalities in the ICT sector. Yes, it is true. I can attest to that. In my company, there are fewer women, especially at executive and engineering levels. Although Vodacom has higher percentages of women compared to most JSE-listed companies, the question remains, what makes women not to take senior positions in the corporate sector, especially in the ICT sector? The answer is simple. It is because of patriarchy and toxic masculinity. Women find the corporate environment aggressive and unsupportive, and we need to all address this culture. And it is a journey that we are walking as Vodacom. The Deputy Minister also spoke passionately about 4IR. I can attest that Vodacom is no longer just connecting people. We are now a technology company. And this is part of our digital transformation journey into the fourth industrial revolution. We say the future is exciting. There's a lot that I can say about what we do, but today I am here to talk about gender-based violence, which affects our learner performance and destroys the moral fabric of society. I believe very strongly that in order to curb gender-based violence, we need to promote gender equality. We must stop as society encouraging girls to peace because they grow into violent men. And it starts with us as parents and as caregivers and as teachers. We must teach our boys positive masculinity. We must stop socializing girls to be submissive. To the young women who are watching this event, I have questions for you. How many times have you been told that your dress or skirt is too short and therefore you are inviting trouble? How many times do you feel uncomfortable walking past a group of men when you are alone? And how many times have you heard girls being told that they must behave well in order to get a husband? For the young men, I have these questions. How many times have you been told not to cry or to behave like a girl? How many times does your conversation how the girl looks? And how many times have you called another man a sissy just because he is loud and aggressive? And I ask both the young men and the young women listening, what is your definition of a real man? He is strong, he is muscular, he is powerful, he is aggressive, he is rich and successful, he is a fighter and kisijabana. And what is your definition of a real woman? She is sexy, she is petite and feminine, she is beautiful, she is hot and gorgeous, she is homely, and she's available. These are social constructs that promote the domination, oppression, and exploitation of women. And until, Professor, we address these stereotypes about how a man and a woman should behave and look, we will continue to have gender inequality and gender-based violence. So with the levels of gender-based violence in the country, Vodacom works with government to fight gender-based violence using technology in prevention, response, and victim support. Government to establish gender-based violence command center in 2014 by providing communications technology, voice, SMS, USSD, video conferencing, a reporting dashboard, and geolocation. The command center is run by trained social workers. The social workers provide counseling on the spot, or they refer cases to various institutions. During COVID, unfortunately, we saw a huge spike in GBV cases. And let me just give you some comparisons. Last year, the full year, the GBV cases that came to the command center were at an average of 151 per month. And this year, since January, the average is 500 cases per month, which means that the number of GBV cases has increased fourfold this year, especially during the lockdown. If you need assistance, both young men and young women, please do not hesitate to call these numbers, 0800 428 428, 0800 428 428, because we know we're going to see another spike now during the festive season. 2 weeks ago, we launched an app called Bright Sky South Africa to complement the work of the command center. Please download the app. It is on Apple and Google stores. It is a free to download app, and yesterday, it means that if you are a Vodacom subscriber or customer, you can be able to use the app without incurring data costs. The app has a questionnaire with 30 stories that explain in simple language sexual offenses and domestic abuse, and stereotypes that make gender-based violence acceptable in society. The stories are meant for both women and men. From the app, you get access to emergency services and advice on what to do if you are in an abusive relationship, or if somebody that you know is in an abusive relationship. We also provide you in the app with online tips on how to download and use the app safely, because your privacy and security is important to us. We also provide computer training to the victims and survivors of gender-based violence who are in the shelters in order to empower them to get skills that contribute to job creation. I end this by saying that the regulator, ICASA, is proceeding with the auction of the much needed spectrum. And with this development, Vodacom will be ramping up the rolling out of more connectivity across the country, especially in the rural areas, for next year, ensure that the underserviced areas are covered. On GBV, I say prevention is better than cure. Law enforcement comes after the fact, and sometimes the damage is irreversible. And technology is not the solution, but just an enabler. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Sestaki, and thank you for honoring our event. I really hope that you see that we mean business when we say that we are actually working with communities, making sure that STEM education is popularized, going also into the deepest rural areas, whether be formal or informal in settlements. This is how our work goes. And I'm really sure that next time when you come knocking at your door, really, you'll open with 2 arms and then to welcome us and to support us. Thank you very much for sharing this platform with us. And then with that said, I would like to welcome our next speaker, who's
sort of
from
have in.
CSEd's, a subsidiary of Telkom, Ms. Sharon Masdorp, Managing Executive of Unified Collaborations. Sharon?
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Deputy Minister, Prof. Mkhize, the organizers, my fellow panelists, and of course, I have to say hello to all our beautiful young people. So I would like to open with a verse from Eleanor Roosevelt that says, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams."
Myself so
I'm
that I
Sharon
can
Marsdorp,
hear her.
and the
I don't want
Managing
to stop
Executive for
video.
Unified Collaboration at BCX, and I'm so excited to be here. So guys, did you know that globally, STEM-related occupations are growing at a pace faster than all other occupations? In fact, 7% faster. Therefore, it shows us that there's a very high demand globally for STEM-related jobs. Currently, the supply cannot keep up with the demand. So why are these jobs important? Because they speak to innovation. When we innovate, we create products and services and business models that make a difference to business and society. So the way I see it, investment in innovation can actually be a major economic liberator. So when you take an interest in maths, science, and technology, you not only equip yourself with the right future-based skill set, but you are also making a difference in the world. So some of the critical skills that you need to be future ready are thinking skills, problem solving, being analytical, planning, and critical thinking skills. These are all skills that you can get through becoming proficient in science and technology. And then, of course, participating in awesome initiatives such as the event of today. So we need innovative thinking to solve current and future problems and make the world a better place. So one way that we can make the world a better place is by using technology to address the scourge of gender-based violence. This is a huge problem in South Africa, with 5 out of every 10 women having experienced some form of violence. So guys, it's up to us to use our abilities and technology as a platform to save lives and to make a difference. So what are some of the things that we can actually do from a technology perspective? I've identified 3 areas where we can assist victims of gender-based violence. Firstly, we can assist them to get information and assistance proactively. This is providing applications, websites, and portals about information about what constitutes gender-based violence. Because many people are in an abusive relationship without even knowing it. And giving you the ability to have an online platform where you can do a risk assessment for either yourself or somebody that you care about. Secondly, it's about getting on-demand assistance when you need it. So having the ability using your mobile device to have an immediate link to a support call center, police, or social services. And thirdly, after the abuse has occurred, how does somebody recover? You need a support system to make it on your own. So you need things like skills and job creation opportunities. So we can create websites, applications, virtual support centers, and portals to address all these needs. Some of the ideas for tools and communication channels are traditional communication channels like SMS, USSD, calls to a support center. These should all be 0 rated because many people are prohibited by the fact that they don't have airtime. Then secondly, there are a number of digital channels available, such as live chat, where you can actually speak to somebody live on a website, chatbots which provide information, mini apps, self-service, Click call where if you're on a website, you can click and be able to have a conversation without needing to use your mobile phone, as well as call me back services, as well as video calling. So having a Skype plug-in. Other applications include location-based services, which allows authorities to track you using your geolocation. And then something that we also need to look at is a crowdfunding platform. So after the event, should you need support to improve your skills or get a job, crowdfunding will allow people to volunteer their funds to help victims of gender-based violence to actually be able to support themselves and their families after the event. But then what about prevention services? Because to a large extent, the things we are talking about are quite reactive. But what about putting in place a proactive system? So here I'm talking about life coaching for kids, for youth, for women, for young men, life coaching which will teach them about decisions, the impact of decisions, help them from a self-esteem perspective, help them to make the right decisions and the right choices, and boost them in terms of their positive thinking. So these are just some of the technological possibilities. So as you can see, guys and girls, the possibilities are endless. So to conclude, young people, I'd like to say, guys, believe in yourself, aim to be relevant, aim to make a difference in society, work hard in maths and science. It will help you to leapfrog. Use your skills as a voice to be heard. Use your strengths, use your talents to make a difference for your family, your community as a whole. We are here to support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and thank you very much for availing yourself and then also showing the enthusiasm enthusiastic capabilities, also speaking to the young people. And then thank you for joining the platform with us. And then to all us, the participants, please can we mute our mic so that we don't interrupt the speakers while speaking. And then now I'll just like to give the platform now to Dr. Thulani Vilakazi, the CEO of Ithala SOC Limited. Vilakazi?
Good morning, Mshengo. My sincere apologies that I joined the session quite a bit late. I'm also highly delighted to be part and parcel of this August occasion. First and foremost, my greetings to Professor, the Honorable Deputy Minister Hlengiwe Mkhize. I must declare upfront that she is a relative of mine from Mfeni Royal Community in KwaZulu-Natal. So it's quite an important event, and also I would like to greet the facilitators, fellow partners, and most importantly, our future tech gurus, the learners on whom we rely to find the technological solutions to our problem. My focus will be purely more on the digital soft skills program. I hope that you are all safe and well this morning. I can honestly say that I've never experienced an event with such a radical impact on how we work and live our lives as the COVID pandemic has become a parcel of our social fiber. This indeed on its own is a geotectonic shift event. Now more than ever, we must do the right thing and be prepared to take steps beyond what we typically required to do. 2020 has been a good year, hasn't been a good year with COVID pandemic, but if there's one lesson that needs to be learned, is that the time to keep ourselves and move to digital is now. There's no other time. When the fourth industrial revolution was conceived and started, we never thought that we would need to move so quickly to become, and it would become a necessity rather than a nice to have. COVID indeed has accelerated the need to go digital, but at the same time, expose the features of our society where the poor, and particularly the young youth, those in rural areas and those who cannot afford, could not actually access some of the learning activities because of the gap that is there in the digital divide. It is very important for each and every one of you here today to take today's lesson seriously and know that it is no mistake that you are here today participating in this Computer Science Education Week. Our bank, Itala SOC Limited, which, by the way, is the only state bank at the moment that is operating in South Africa. We are part and parcel of Itala Development Finance Corporation, and we have been in existence for close to 61 years. We have partnered with a number of partners, amongst them GoDigitalSA last year, where we actually embarked on programs to bridge the digital divide, especially in rural areas where I come from myself. Last year, we rolled out a number of our digital skills program at Kwadlangezo High School, and also at learners in excess of 44 from 11 schools benefited from this initiative. We have also realized that in terms of what COVID did, had a major impact on our students to actually just complete their programs of learning this year. We also partnered with GoDigitalSA and assisted over 120,000 students this year to be able to complete their studies and actually complete their curriculum, which was actually quite helpful for them to close the gap that had emerged. Most of the plans to reach more learners were disrupted by the COVID program. Today's event allows us an opportunity to pilot implementing the program in a COVID-compliant and expected environment. By the end of this lesson, we want you to create your own hubs in your own school and spread the knowledge you gain today. I would really like to thank all the partners and people involved so that we made today possible. A better South Africa is a possibility if we continue to work together. And as Itala SOC Limited, we also say, we're saying no to GBV. And also, what is also important in terms of this aspect is that for a long time in this country, violence of men against men has actually almost become accepted. Young boys are being murdered, as well as young girls and mothers and sisters. We need to say no to all forms of violence that are taking place in South Africa, that it is not just acceptable. So again, Itala is with you. Please, on the youngsters, when you start working, please remember Itala SOC Limited. You can begin a life with us as we do your banking. We have a number of products, particularly supporting some of the families in rural areas where most other commercial banks do not do the finance. We finance people in rural areas to build houses and many, many other products. But more importantly, we are positioning our bank to be a digitally leading bank that is a state bank in South Africa. I thank you all.
Well, thank you very much, Vilakazi, and thank you for making time really to come join us. And then, yes, you can say that again, this is the new normal. This is what also our learners need to take into cognizance, to say that go into the world of work. I heard somebody saying that they just finished writing. It means that they're unemployed. You can never be unemployed in this abundance of technology. Really, there's so much that one can do in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of also just studying online, just sitting at home, because now the new normal is that you can't do anything sitting wherever you are, whether you are in a car, you are at home, you are at church or wherever, any place, as long as you can connect. You can be able to connect to other people, whether a company, your friends, and then your employment, stuff like that. Also, I'd like to thank all the speakers of the first part of our program. Most especially, I would like to thank the Deputy Minister for making her time, taking her time out of a busy schedule to come and be with us, support us really as our patron to come and see what really we are doing, not to come and listen to the hearsay to say that we've been doing this and that, just so that she can come and see for herself. when you say that we're going to communities, this is what we really mean. And then also to our international guests, thank you very much for not sleeping and then being able to join us. And then with all that said, I'd like to hand over back to you so that you can continue with the second part of the program. Thank you very much. Are you around?
We are around. I'm just going to be taking from here. And as they supervise the other part. Thank you very much. Firstly, I think I'm very grateful to have really witnessed this day and witnessed the way we have been able to, I will call it maybe for people who are listening to flow. By the way, we are not broadcasting from one place. There's people in KwaZulu-Natal, there's people in Johannesburg, there's Andrew who's in the US, in Michigan, and I mean, we've got people really in different centers. And as old Dr. Vilakazi was saying, this is our new normal. This is the reality of what we do these days. We are able to congregate together in different places, but in one place virtually. And again, I mean, it's so interesting, very nice to listen to Uthandeka talking about the fact that connectivity is no longer just a luxury, it's actually a basis of life. Very soon, I'm sure it will be declared as one of the really basic need and the basic requirement for every person in this country. I mean, in the world, of course, to be able to live for it. My role today, I'm just going to be doing a very simple introduction around what is this world of fourth industrial revolution, the world of computer look like, and what does it mean, and what we really do. My name is Sandile Mahlaba. I am a co-founder for GoDigitalSA, and I'm very privileged, and I always tell the team I'm privileged to be called the patron for the organization. My responsibility actually for the organization is just to help and give ideas and be able to really come up with concepts on how we're really impacting our community differently and how we make all the things right. My role today, it's a very simple one. I'm going to just do two things. The first one, I'll just take you in a little bit the road of what is this world of digital look like and what does it mean to us? And then the second part, as I start the second session, where the young people will start interacting with technology, I will then start driving it down to the team that's going to be taking them through on how to create this chatbot. That's going to be our technology and the way we want to see things. So I will start with my presentation, and I will then just run some of the few slides that I want to talk about today. One key thing I wanted just maybe to mention for everybody to understand, the part of using technology for GBVF, when we kind of partnered with Nolwazi and really conceptualized this, we were looking at how simple can you do it? What are the simplest things that I sitting Nongoma I should be able to do? And you will see today the manifestation of as far as Nongoma and as far as, I mean, Tofivamba, if you are in Venda, you can still have a way of interacting with technology and be able to put your voice out and make sure people understand that you by yourself affected or infected or any other way, you should be able to get the voice out. So we're going to be proving that today by using the Facebook chat bot as a way of going out to public and talk something. So let me just take you maybe in the road around the technology and where it is. Give me a second. I'm just going to require a presentation. Okay, I'm just going to start my presentation now. As soon as it shows, please let you, if you can just confirm or somebody can confirm that you can see the slides. And my assumption currently will be we can see the slides, all of us, so I will continue with my presentation slide. So here's the memory lane. For some of the old people or good people who have aged in this particular presentation, I'm sure when you look at this, it might mean something to your life, or you can start just understanding where things have been. and how things have gone. This is just, by the way, a history.
Apologies, we can't see your slide from Joburg.
Now let's try again. I'm now hoping that you can see them.
Perfect.
Good. So, I mean, you didn't miss anything, by the way. So this is the second one. So some of us and who are old in age, you will just look at this and you can just have a memory lane of where your life might have begun when it comes to technology. This is what actually brought us a very big awareness of what technology can be in our lives. If you think about it, some people entered in this level. Some people who are in the rooms currently who are young, they are entering technology in this level, where they're hearing a lot about 5G and 4G is something that they think is normal. And I'm sure a deputy minister, you might be talking even much more further back whenever you just remember when you interacted with technology. These are some of the things that have made us aware and gave us the first run around what technology is and became very visible to us. And really, really, we need to welcome ourselves and think about the fact that while we are talking about connectivity being an issue, this is where we're supposed to be now. We are in a place where things are connected. We're in a place where the ability to talk like we're doing today is a normal thing and everybody should be doing it. We are in a place where video footage, it's a normal thing to be sent through to so many different people in the same time. I mean, can you imagine somebody in Michigan was addressing us while somebody in South Africa was coordinating all the visuals. And the third part was while somebody who's sitting in Johannesburg, being our deputy minister, was honoring us with a speech. All this location is in different places. And I'm sure Dr. Bavuma was sitting somewhere in some rural area somehow. So you can just see how the connectivity has become just a very good base. Where are we coming from? Maybe we should remember that this was just not a simple thing. This is our history of how things have been. There have been some ways of the 1930s when things came in, some young people in the room, they've got no understanding of what a cassette is. Even a cassette player, they're not even going to be able to recognize. So a Sony Walkman is nothing that they can identify with because they've never seen it. And again, I mean, some hard drives were actually taking a very big brick. You will take a very small information. Today, we're talking about the fact that an SD card can actually contain a whole movie, which will never be heard of. So these are the kind of things that are the milestones that we have reached in our life and things that have turned in our life. Here's a very interesting one that is happening, and today is going to be a very good illustration of this. The new reality around social media is actually a very interesting reality that we see today, meaning a message that can be sent today as we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We know for a fact that more than 1 million people every 60 seconds is a possibility they're going to see us. More than 4.5 million, I mean, we are part of the more than 4.5 million that are actually being loaded every 60 seconds as part of the videos. And by the way, for some of the people who are privileged enough, Netflix is becoming an SABC concept where she's going to be a TV on demand. So why am I saying all these kind of things? I want you just to understand, if we have to fight some of the prevalences of GBVF, we need to be using some of the most attractive technologies to be able to do it. I'm not going to talk about the app. I cannot talk about robotics that can be used. I want to talk about face recognition that can be used. I think Tandega and all the speakers before me have done a very good part around this one. I mean, I think Deputy Minister illustrated exactly how the policing can be done different. I want to move it back to society, to people who are in the room, the young people. Instead of me posting my photo that is inappropriate or appropriate according to me on Facebook, what if today I can start posting and talking about how GBVF could affect the nation differently or could affect the way we do things? What if there's 18.1 million messages that are being sent every 6 seconds? One of it could be about the GBVF and us fighting against it. I think today we actually in a very nice position, and thanks to the GoDigitalSA Foundation, thanks to Onolwazi, I mean all the partners, that today we can be able to put a messaging together being taught how to use the chatbot, just to be able to constantly reminding people that GBVF, it is prevalent and we can fight it and you can fight against it and you can be able to win. So that this is how we can use technology, and this is how we can use all the social media power we've got in our hands as communities to start really doing a little that you can do just to send as much information that you will never know where it's going to land. Maybe somebody might be needing that message today. It's the same as waking up in the morning and putting a verse on Facebook. You never know who's going to read it, but somebody might be needing it at that very time. By putting a message on Facebook today, when you are doing a chatbot, we might not be able to control who's going to see it, who's going to use it, but you might be able to give a very good advanced information to somebody who might have not known how to identify GBVF part of the activity and how to report it. I want us to take it in the spirit, and I want us to actually understand this is the possibility, the art of possibility around this. Just as I close, I want just you to say, being young, it gives you a lot of privileges, and it gives you a lot of new things you're going to see in your life. We spoke about so many things when we grew up in our times. We had an IQ. Today is the era of EQ, which is the emotional intelligence. When you talk about soft skills and with some of the mind share that we've got, it becomes a very big thing. The fourth industrial revolution for some of the young people who are in the rooms today is completely different. It's digital. Everything moves fast. It's actually a combination of values and different parts. If your value system is wrong, digital technology will always do the wrong things for you. But if your value system is correct and you understand where you're coming from, you will be posting the correct things on Facebook. Instagram will become a business for you. And Twitter will become a place of sending information. And your artificial intelligence that is actually controlling how the world runs these days will be able to pick up this old noble from Mlazi, who's keep on sending the information. And while she's able to sell her own new t-shirts that are trending and giving a right messaging, and AI, being artificial intelligence, will be able to promote it and make it the best of the business for her with online buying and all the different. Welcome to the fourth industrial revolution. As a young person, you need to just know one thing about it. You are now a digital citizen, meaning when we used to carry an ID and a Donbass, our parents used to carry it, you're going to be carrying a one card, a smart ID that gives the world to you. Meaning in one card, as a credit card, when you scan, it just gives all information and it contains you as a person. You as a young person today, we're talking digital creativity, meaning when you're doing your makeup, you don't have to put it on your face someday. When you take your photo, you don't have to take a photo and pause and making sure it's correct. Because these days you've got a Photoshop, you've got a makeup way of putting Instagram free photo that can make it look the way it's supposed to be. Moreover, you are able now to design a website within a few minutes because it's available for you. Today, you will be designing a chatbot, meaning what could have been a call center about GBVF. You will be designing it today to be your own legal chatbot, taking over some of the information destination that could have been done on TV or been done through a call center. The last part of it, you're now going to become a digital competitive person. You're not going to be employed because you might be looking differently. You're not going to be employed just because you've got the amount of degrees behind you. But moreover, you will be able to digitally present and position yourself correctly so that all opportunities, when they come to you, competitively, you'll be able to use all the ways of creativity. Think about it. Ukubumba kokuhamba, it's something that ugogo might have done ekhaya eKwanongoma. Today, ukubumba kokuhamba can be done like we're doing today, where you can give some of these classes and be able to do it digitally. Even somebody in China can start following you, start crediting and buying some of the things from you. This is the world that you live in, and this is the world that we would like to open up for you today. And this is the world for some of you have been going on because you have been exposed. Some people who are in some of the schools for the first time, they are seeing this in reality, and they will be able to interact with it today. So I'm looking forward to see exactly how this positioning and how these good things that we are going to be doing today are going to benefit you as a young person. And I think without just really taking too much time on that, I will then dive to the last part of my presentation, which is now talking, how do we make this possible? Before I hand it over to Uletu who they are, the people who are going to be taking you through around really doing this and doing the practical part of it. So I will just go through into terms of how do I look at a problem? So today we're talking about GBVF. How do I look at a GBVF as a challenge facing society? How do I then start thinking differently about it and start designing things that are going to be a solution towards it? Okay, let me make an example. There's Ubaba Unaitu who's got a shop in the corner somewhere. If Ubaba Unaitu in a shop in the corner somewhere, how do I just make sure that when I look at Ubaba Unaitu and look at what he does for society, be happy with what he does for us? But in case he crosses a line of being Ubaba Kumina, I'm able to then use the power of technology to either report or to actually warn others about the fact that such action that I've realized, I've seen, and I've just experienced, it's not a normal thing in society. This is what I'm just going to be having a privilege today, just to show you and be able to see how we can be able both, all of us design such a thing that's going to work with this. So I'm just going to fly my last slide set, which is going to be, I think, the one of today that's going to talk to what is design thinking and how can I be able to use design thinking. And again, as earlier on that you guys assisted me, as soon as the presentation is up, if somebody can just assist me just to make sure that you confirm that you can see the presentation. I'm just setting it up to go. So I'm just done the introduction part. So now let me just maybe take this journey then around to make sure my technology is working this side. Okay. I'm going to try to make sure this design thinking conversation will be into the level of what everybody can understand today and be able to use it by today. So design thinking is really, really about a new way of thinking, taking problems as challenges, transforming them and making them solutions to society. So this session, I'm just going to do a very high fly. Normally it takes a very long, lot of slides, lot of information for us to get into a level what it's supposed to be. But I'll take a very high level and just give you just a snippet of it. And by the way, where I work permanently, some of these things we do it for different corporate, different government. So I'm using some of the slides in terms of what we do when we do present. So as you always know, your brain has got two sets into it. There's your left set part of it, which resides within what we use every part. There's a right one for creative, coming up with new things that we try by all means to venture to it more into the situation that we face in life in some of the times. So think about it this way. When our government and our deputy minister being here designed very good paths for us in a park or in a road, and I'm sure you can identify this even in school or in some places that we are exposed to. There is a set design that normally get put down. Architectural structures, people get involved to design this and make sure it's relevant to us. And then somehow society, because we are very interesting beings, we then as users say, whatever you design is not what we wanted. Whatever we want, what we want and see working is being able to cut into where I want to go faster without a struggle. So you will find that when you come to design thinking, we really want to be thinking about what will be the user think of what we're doing. So today when you're doing your chatbot, don't do it because I'm simple and I've got an opportunity to sit on the computer and I'm learning something. Start being simple, who might have been at school and being bullied by somebody at school. Think about simple, who might have been on the road and somebody might be threatening to kill them. You must think about simple, as Babu Vilas was saying, who might be a person who might be abused by another boy and trying to beat them and doing some of the things. So I want you to think about yourself as a user versus as a designer and a person who's making the road. I want you to understand the concept. How does this concept help you? This is a very interesting concept to understand. And all of us have seen this with tomato sauce. Tomato sauce was meant to be in a bottle, and gold, what they call it, I forgot the name of the product, but it face up and it's got a lid and very good looking bottle. But I'm sure all of us, sometime, during our university time, we used to do that a lot. When it goes and then is about to be finished, and there's that tomato sauce sitting on the bottom, you kind of turn it around and then want to heat it on the bottom for the tomato sauce to come down. And now being a user and your experience tells you that no, this product might have been designed this way, but it's not useful to me until when I want to eat it and I have to turn it down so that it's always going to be flowing down at any given time. Thus, now, if you go in most of the mall or go to the shops, you will see that tomato sauce now it's got a different bottle, which has got a bigger base of the lid, which you can be able to face it down and be able to enjoy tomato sauce to the end of whatever the last bit of. So that's a design thinking. Somebody came up with something, but the user then used it differently. Now then it becomes a design going forward of how this can be done. I mean, this is just showing, I mean, in terms of like what exactly is what we see in the market and what you see in business. Let me just take you through to the 5 steps of design thinking that you're going to be using today. These are going to use them very shortly today and very quickly. But normally you'll find that companies take a long time when they're doing this particular part. So when I say to you, you must be thinking like SIPO, you will be empathizing, meaning you are thinking like a user, you are thinking like SIPO. Say, SIPO has been abused. If I'm bringing the chatbot today on Facebook, what message can I say to SIPO? Or how do I stop even an abuse before SIPO get abused? How do I send messages of warning, of awareness that are going to help SIPO not even to experience a bad thing? So what do I mean? I mean, as a person today, a young person sitting in the school, I mean, in different areas in Gauteng, in KZN, others sitting in Mfolo, others sitting in Breakville. Today, you're going to have an opportunity to actually think like Usipo and empathize with Usipo and say, Usipo is constantly being abused or being beaten by somebody who's same age as him or older than him, who's the male. How then do I make sure that that particular classification of gender violence does not happen in Usipo's life today? And I'm going to use a chatbot to make sure it does. Secondly, then we're going to define this or we synthesize it. So how do we define the situation that might face people or the situation that we are trying to defend or trying to build awareness so that it does not happen? So you will find that in this situation, in this layer, you then define exactly what are these things that you're trying to stop. Today, we're going to be fighting against GBVF. We're not doing it today, by the way. We're starting today, meaning our chatbot, we want our chatbot to start today and to roll out from today. Okay. What do I mean? When you're doing a chatbot on Facebook, the same as doing this video today on Facebook, it will live there forever. So when you start this chatbot, just understand that when you think about SIPO situation, defining it, you are defining something that's going to live longer beyond when we have actually defeated GBVF. But the message will always be there to make sure that you don't have another rise. Currently, we're talking about second wave of the COVID. Here, we're saying we don't even have to want the second wave of GBVF. Once we fight with it the way we're starting to do now, as a country, as a society, we want it to stop. And we will continue creating a positive information to make sure it stops. Then we will ideate it. Then in ideation, we're going to look at how does the chatbot going to operate. Later, will assist you in doing this. And then from there on, you will then put in what message you want to put into a chatbot, what answers you wanted to give to the people. And that will actually help you guys to think about it and see how it can be done. When you prototype it, you will then going to plug in your chatbot into a Facebook page. That particular plug in you're going to do to Facebook page, you're then going to be prototyping exactly how does this thing going to come out. So how does a person on the other side will see it, and how does the person on the other side will be able to get the message. And then from then, you're prototyping it, you're actually creating a chatbot working, but being able to experience and seeing if ever there's any mistakes or improvement needs to be done. If it's not working correctly, you optimize it, you make sure it works correctly while it's live and being able to operate. These are the 5 steps that today you're going to be doing, and this is what you're going to be taken through by only 2. And I'm looking forward to the results that are going to be coming out of it. And I mean, the other part it's just more or less an explanation exactly what I've given unto you. So I would like you just to think about it this way and just understand that if you're not a part of the problem, you are part of the solution. So today, as young people that are actually observing this particular conversation, we are trying to learn and we're already doing it. You are part of the solution. I mean, Deputy Minister gave us some of the background and information around how the presidency has dealt with this, how they see it as a strain to society. And again, different speakers from Vodacom, to BCX, to Itala, our partners, to Ilona, Moses Kotani, to Andrew, have told you what are the things that can be used and the tools that are being made available to do this. What you're about to do now with Letu, you're now going to be starting using those tools to actually start showing the little that you can do as society to fight the scourge of GBVF. I think for me, Letu, I'm want to hold back to you now slowly because I've covered firstly the history part of it. I've given the future of where the technology is going. I then gave a methodology that you want to use today and the thinking that you want to have today as you go through the exercise that you want to do today. And I've kind of commissioned around why we're doing it, which is a small set of our contribution as society. Because if millions of us can start sending such signal and information on Facebook, we will be part of a big community of being able to say, GBVF. And this is a great start that you are doing today. So as you're getting ready, I want you to actually then to start taking us through on how we're going to do this. I know that you've got colleagues and facilitators in each and every center who are going to be working directly with the young people, wherever they are. But what I want you to do very religiously is to explain the process again and take them through and ensure that we're going to have all these good results of what we can do as society. Again, we might not be able to do an app, but we are able to send a message on Facebook against GBVF. And thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm going to now hand it over back into Letu, who's going to take us through for today and do what needs to be done. Letu, over to you. Thank you very much. This is when you hope, you wish you could sing, because maybe, I might have been able to launch an album while we are waiting and practice my singing skills. But I think that's not the part that I do very well. I want just to make sure that okay. So there's going to be an icebreaker now. So I will hand over then to the person going to be running the icebreaker. Thank you very much, Letu. Please unmute. You are on mute currently, so we can't hear anything happen in the room. Let's see if we can unmute them.
Hi guys, so we're gonna unmute Uncle Letty. Hi guys, so we're gonna stand up.
Wait.
There, it says unmute. Okay, now.
Now I can hear you. You can continue. Thank you.
Hi guys, so can you please stand up, stretch, and we're gonna do an icebreaker cheer for everyone to just be in the mood so we can carry on with the sessions. Okay, so the song is simple. Also, the song is named Spirit. So we're gonna do an example, and you guys can join in while we're doing it. Okay, sharp. It goes like this. Can you feel the spirit? Aye. Can you feel the spirit? Aye. So do it with your hand. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ah. Can you do that style? Can you do that style? Can you feel the spirit? Aye. Can you feel the spirit? Aye. So do it with your hand. Ooh, ah, ah. Can you do that style? Can you do that style? Can you feel the spirit? It's simple. Please join in. We're gonna start and we're gonna cheer. All of us are gonna cheer at once. Very loud, energetic. You can feel the energy. Okay, so guys, please let me go. So that you guys can cheer for us. You can move into the aisle if you are stuck where you are and you feel like your energy is too much. Okay, we're gonna start. Can you feel the spirit? So we're gonna do a groovy song. So basically I'm gonna ask if you guys can give me a groovy, and you guys are gonna spell the song. It goes G-R-O, another O-V-Y. So we're gonna do like a template of how it goes and the spirit needed. Okay, guys, I need a groovy. I need a groovy. Like a real like groovy. Give me a groovy!
drew the Among Us thing. I can do it better.
I can do it better on paper.
There's nothing there. No, you're not muted. Huh? No, you're not muted. Please give me a moment. Ish. Yeah, ne? Okay. Just a moment. And I'll be with you, still battling with my camera. I need to put my camera where everybody can see me. I'll just put it right on the side. But my name is Letu Shabalala. Let me just begin by saying that. My name is Letu Shabalala, and I hope that everybody right there at home or at school, whichever venue you're at, can hear me. Today we will be doing a chatbot development. Just as Matlaba had said, that we're going to create chatbots, and we're going to use the knowledge that we were given by him when he was doing design thinking and the introduction to computers. So what we will need for our chatbot is that we're going to need a Facebook page and a Facebook account. So I wonder if we all have the Facebook accounts.
No.
Okay. Wherever you are right now, I would request that you try and connect on your computer or your PC. And the way we're gonna do this is that we're gonna divide ourselves into groups. Your coordinators at the venues, they'll divide you all into groups so we can work in groups. So to make this efficient and quickly as possible, but we still have time anyway, so good. I'm being told that you can't hear me. How?
We can hear you now. Can you try again?
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Please tell me if you can hear me, because I cannot like really hear the Zoom call at the moment, so I'm just speaking. So really sorry about that.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, and please text me on the Zoom chat if you cannot hear me, or if there's anything that you cannot see. Yeah, please just type in on the Zoom chat and tell me so I can be aware. Okay. Right here, are you connected? Just connect to the laptop. There's a Wi-Fi password right here. Just log in and you'll be able to be connected. So the prerequisites, or like the requirements for one to be able to create a chatbot, is that they need a Facebook account and a Facebook page. Then we're going to create our Facebook chatbot on. Since this event, or this theme, the theme of the event is that we are fighting GBV using technology. Were you aware? Yes. I'm still going to have questions for everybody, even the person that is watching me right now. Okay, so please log on to your PC or your laptop. Our chatbots will not be able to be created on a tablet. It's going to be difficult. because you need to click and drag unless you have a stylus. It's fine. So you can just follow my lead. What we're gonna need, like I said again, I'm gonna repeat again. I like repeating myself. I've taught the elderly, so yeah, again. All right. So we're gonna go onto our browsers. It can either be Chrome, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Opera Mini, any browser you want to use, but not Internet Explorer, because Internet Explorer doesn't have some features that the other browsers, the advanced browsers have. So we're just gonna go on to so many down, like why? That's why. Facebook.com and okay, all right. So I'm just gonna give you 5 minutes to log in so we can all be together in this.
Hello, can I disturb
would
you?
like to be told on Zoom chats if everybody else. Ooh, no. Not my account. Not my account.
Hello?
No, those were people, those are stories. Do you know about Facebook stories? Yeah.
No.
Not me. I don't put that. Come on. So I'm just gonna go incognito then.
Go in on guests.
Hello?
Yep, I'm still here.
Can I disturb you?
Sorry?
Then can you be able to magnify then your screen to be more larger, because we cannot be able to see what you are typing on top.
We're gonna create a Facebook account if you don't have one. So I'm gonna show you how to. May you please repeat that, Vusia? I couldn't hear you. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, so we only have 2 minutes left for people to log in or open up their browsers. So those that don't have a Facebook account, I'm gonna show you how to create a Facebook account. Don't worry, don't stress. Just let the blood flow. Like, release yourself. They were saying it. Not Tilly was saying it. Like, release yourself. So just relax. Relax. No, I also should take that advice and relax. Oh yeah. Y'all can work in groups. All I'm saying is that not like all pieces need to be connected. Not pieces of chicken. by the PCs. Okay, I would like for us to continue. So what we'll need is for us to go onto Facebook. So it's either you type in www.facebook.com or just facebook.com. It's up to you. It still works. Okay, I'm just gonna turn off my phone because I'm getting a bit disturbed. All right. So on Facebook, what you need is that you need to create an account. If you don't have an account, you just open up Facebook and then you will see there's a part where you can enter in your email address or phone number and password and then log in if you have the account. But if you don't have an account, and then you click on create an account. Create new account, and maybe I can just go by, say, Ngoba. My name will be Ngoba Bing, and then my mobile number can be 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. But you need to put on your phone number, not that number. You don't even have to use Ngoba Bing. You have to use your name and your surname, or your first name and your last name. And then for password, again, for password, you just need to create your own unique password. It doesn't have to be your name. It doesn't have to be your surname. It doesn't have to be your date of birth, because that's really easy for somebody to hack your account. So you need to create a unique password. And your password include capital letters, lowercase letters, special characters like hash, @ exclamation mark, even the percentage sign can work. So let me just say mine would be, but I can't show it. Yeah. Okay, and then from there, I'll have to select a date of birth. So my date of birth will be 1 January 2001. Even mobile is 2001. I'm kidding. And then and then for gender, then you have to select your gender. But if you don't want to put any of those genders, you can click on custom. It's up to you. And then after that, you can click on sign up, and then you go onto your account, and after that, you have created your account. So I'm just going to give you all again. Sorry?
Yes, it sends a code.
Yes, it sends you a code on your phone. Sometimes if like there's a lot of people creating accounts, they sometimes think that maybe there are bots. There are systems called bots that can operate as human beings. So for Facebook to not like have bots creating a lot of accounts, they have to verify if you are human or not. So they send you a code on your phone number. So you can use a phone number that is here, for a phone that is here. My phone number has been used a lot, so I can't like give you my phone number. I've created a lot of accounts using my phone number.
Yes.
So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes to complete the task, and then we continue again. For those that don't have a Facebook account. please respond. Okay, I'm just going to continue. Yes.
Oh, we have some challenges here, but we're trying to hotspot them.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to continue. This is my other account that is actually dormant, by the way. So what we need to do from Facebook right now is to create a Facebook page. So on your left panel where you see friends, pages, but you may not see pages if you have never created a page before. So what you need to do is click on see more. And then you'll be able to see other options. And then from those options, you can select pages. Are we all together?
Yes.
And then from there, click on pages. And then you'll be taken to a pages platform. And then from there, we're gonna have to click on create new page. Are we still good? Yes. All right. So we're gonna click on create new page. And like I said to the coordinators in other venues, when we're creating our pages, we're gonna use Computer Science Education Week, but in short, it will be CSEdWeek 2020, and then put a hyphen after clicking on create a new page. It will take you to a platform where you can create your Facebook page. And then your page name, it can be CSED Week hyphen 2020. Don't type the hyphen, but like put the hyphen symbol. Okay. And then after the hyphen, just put the name of the venue. Innovation. Just put innovation on our side. Innovation, and then maybe you can pick a number that you want to use after innovation, because we can't all create the same page name. So if you're number 2, somebody else can be number 3, 4, 5. Okay, just to go through the steps again.
It starts at 12.
If you don't have a Facebook account, then you log on to your browser application, type facebook.com and press enter. Then after that, you can click on create new account. And if you do have a Facebook account, you can just log in, and then on your Facebook wall, on the left panel, you will see options. Some of them will have, say, invites. So they have friends, games, etc. And because you have not created pages before, you just have to click on see more, scroll down, and you will see pages. And then click on pages. And then from there, click on create new page. And then the page name, it should be CSEdWeek2020. Venue name and the number. I'm sending the name example on Zoom chats. For me, I can be 100. And then in category, underneath the page name, you can type in community. Because we are doing this for community anyway. And then under description, you can put the description of your Facebook page. For me, I'm just gonna skip that part. Okay. Now I can click on create page at the bottom. After clicking create page, it will show you other options for adding a profile photo and a cover photo. But since we don't have it for now, just click on save. And after that, your page will be created. But for you, after all this, you will need to customize your page. Add cover photo, profile photo, and start engaging with the community. Get people to like your page so they can be able to engage with the chatbot that we will be creating after this. Okay, I think I fixed my other problem on Zoom. Yeah.
Ini nggak explain apa?
Lebo, please talk to me. Are you good? And Vusi, are we okay?
Yeah, we are winning.
All right. And now my display.
Sure.
Right. Okay, let's continue then. All right. So on your browser, please click on the plus right there to create a new tab. Create a new tab, and from there, we're then gonna access the platform we're gonna use for creating a chatbot, which is ChatFuel. So you're gonna type in chatfuel.com. Chatfuel.com. and then press enter. Okay. Then from there, you're gonna click on Get Started for Free. It will require you to log in using your Facebook account. That's why we had to create a Facebook account. Okay, so just to be quick about this, I'm just gonna show you how to connect it, and then I'm just gonna do a demo by myself, and then after that you will have to create the chat using what you have seen and learned because of time. Yeah, I watch anime. You too old for your age. No, it's mature. Yo, my network is also bad. Alright, there we go. So now I need to sign in using my Facebook account. And to commit to carry out the mission. I feel like sitting off. It's like I've seen this before. That is happening right now. Eish. Sorry, my father. But if you and the team are watching, it's okay. Then you can be able to do the tasks after. Okay, my neck is so bad. Really. Okay. So it seems to be responding. I've created a lot of. Okay, it's only 4. Only 4. I'm good. I'm just gonna show you one chatbot that I've created, which is the GBVF bot, and boys here are enjoying themselves. Tastes like candy, said Christmas. All right. So for our chatbot, we're gonna use what we call flows. It's new, that's why it's still in beta version. It's dropping.
It's dropping again. Okay.
Vusi, which dashboard do you need?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me? That's good. Yeah. Then we are just left behind. Then we have created then the page.
Yes.
Then thereafter, then that's where we were just lost. Then we just have an electricity. Then
okay.
Then shut down and then blackout. Then it comes back again.
For that part, Vusi, you will need to open up a new tab and then type in.
Which one?
Open up a new tab.
Oh, we need
to type in chat fuel. I'm just gonna put it
okay.
right here on the chat.
Oh, in the chat fuel, then it plays. Okay, dashboard.
Just like in the documentation that was sent around. So I'm just going to click on flows so you can see how it looks like. Let's just fill up our socks because soon it's going to be lunch break. Hey.
Lunch?
Yeah. Thanks, Yolanda. Oh. Right. So it's like a neural network. You have like your Facebook page connector, like the main block that you're gonna use, like which is gonna be like the first thing that everybody sees. And then this is the text area. That part right there is what person see when they click on the chat on your Facebook page. Okay. Oh, network issues. Okay, but just concentrate on pay attention for a bit. And so it gives you like a lot of things. Maybe like if I want to create another button right there. Yeah, like that. And maybe I can have something else. Maybe create a button for a person to open up their head so I can speak to him directly and for him to be speaking with the bot. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do the demo for now so you can watch how it's done. I'm gonna say new chatbot. Maybe at break time. Maybe at lunch break. We can do that. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so now let me just do a demo quick, so everybody can go on lunch break, so they can come back again and do the work. All right? Okay, so I'm just gonna click on add blank bot. And here's my blank bot right here, so I can click on it. For now, I don't think I will have to connect the Facebook page because it's gonna take some other time too. Network. Network. All right, and then you see right here, that's where you can connect to the page that you created, but for now I'm just gonna leave that and go into flows. But I'm not a rapper, but I flow using a chatbot. Just follow and look at the steps, and then after break, we can do it. We're gonna create our own chatbots. Now the code. Coding, we are doing what all code. In the other platform, we can use websites without coding. We need to know JavaScript, PHP. Okay, so from here, I usually like to rename my blogs, just like from Uflow to main. And then from right here, let me just put on be like hi. And like the chatbots, there are other features where you include the name of the person. So this hi will be the chatbot greeting the user. The user is it's that someone who will be visiting your Facebook page. So I'm just gonna put in 2 curly brackets, and it will show me options. Yeah, here we go. And we just need first name. And from there, like how may I help you? And then from there I can just click on add button. Create a button for the user to communicate with the chatbot. Maybe the person might want to get in. And that's why I said lunch break, we're going to do that room that has more. So for now, I'll be able to concentrate right here and see how it is done. Thank you. Okay. From there onwards, I can add another button for the person to speak to me directly. So I can just call it live chat. Why is my chat looking like that? Right, just gonna but you can branch out anytime you want. So from here, I can just delete this one because I don't need it. And branch out, open another. So the only thing that I need to do is click on that circle and drag outside. And then I have to select the options. I'm just select send message. From there, I can add content. And text plus buttons. I'm not gonna write anything. In format to generalize lorem ipsum. Done. You can just hit it. And from there create another button that is gonna point the user back to the main block. Put it as main. And then click and drag again back to main block. So the user clicks on main, again take it back to main block. And then now I click on live chat and open up a new block. And then I'll have to select bot action. And then add action. And then it will show the live chat and live chat. And my simple bot is not created. And I hope you're watching. And then Facebook page entry point. We heard you. Let's drag this way and click on the triangle. Connect now. And then set the page down to connect to. Loading. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I know that it's more fun when you're doing it. But that will not be related to us. Now to get my get started button,